You don't suddenly wake up one day and realize your life is wasted. If that happened, most people would change immediately. Instead, it happens quietly, slowly, in a way that's almost invisible. You lose your edge one comfortable decision at a time. One shortcut, one delay, one moment where you choose ease over effort and tell yourself it doesn't matter. And that's the lie that ruins everything. Because it does matter. Every single time. There's a version of you that knows this. You hear him late at night, when the noise stops and there's nothing left to distract you. He shows up when you're alone, when you're staring at the ceiling, when you catch yourself wondering how other people moved so far ahead while you stayed in the same place. That voice isn't there to shame you. It's there to warn you. But most people don't listen. They silence it with entertainment, with scrolling, with excuses that sound intelligent but lead nowhere. They say things like, "I'm still learning," or "I just need more time," or "I'll go all in when I'm ready." Ready never comes. What actually comes is regret. Quiet regret. The kind that doesn't scream but sits in your chest and tightens every time you realize another month passed and nothing changed. You're not lost because you don't know what to do. You're lost because you keep choosing what feels good now over what will matter later. That choice seems small in the moment, feels harmless, but repeated daily it becomes your life. Here's something you need to understand clearly. Nobody becomes disciplined by accident. Nobody becomes focused by luck. Nobody builds confidence by thinking about it. These things are built through action, repetition, and discomfort. And discomfort is exactly what most people are trained to avoid. You live in a world designed to keep you distracted, to keep you entertained, to keep you comfortable enough that you never feel desperate enough to change. And that's why so many people stay stuck. Not because they're incapable, but because they're constantly sedated. Comfort is a quiet drug. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It slowly dulls your ambition. It makes average feel acceptable. Convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed and that urgency is optional. But urgency is everything. Time doesn't wait for you to feel confident. Life doesn't pause until you feel motivated. Opportunity doesn't care about your excuses. And the hardest truth is this. No one is coming to pull you out of your comfort zone. No one is coming to force discipline into your life. No one is coming to make you serious. That responsibility belongs to you. At first, that realization feels heavy, almost unfair. But if you sit with it long enough, it becomes empowering. Because if no one else is responsible for your life, then you're not trapped. You're in control. Right now, the biggest thing holding you back isn't failure. It's inconsistency. You start, then stop. You get inspired, then distracted. You make promises, then break them. And every time that happens, you lose trust with yourself. That's why confidence feels so far away. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a byproduct. It's what happens when your actions and your words match. When you do what you said you would do, especially when it's uncomfortable. Most people want confidence before they act. But confidence comes after action. Always. You don't feel confident because you haven't given yourself proof yet. Proof that you can show up when it's boring. Proof that you can push through resistance. Proof that you can finish what you start. Your brain doesn't believe your intentions. It believes your patterns. And your patterns right now might be telling a story you don't like. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're undisciplined. And discipline is a skill. Skills can be trained. But training isn't glamorous. Training is repetitive. Training is lonely. Training happens when no one is watching and no one cares. That's why so few people stick with it. They confuse boredom with failure. They think if it doesn't feel exciting, it must not be working. But boredom is the entry price to mastery. Every meaningful skill, body, business, or mindset feels boring before it feels powerful. The excitement comes later. First comes the work. You don't need to change everything about your life today. That's a trap. That mindset is why you keep burning out. You try to become a completely different person overnight, fail, then decide you're not built for this. You are built for this. You're just trying to rush what can only be earned. Real change is quiet. It starts small. One decision. One habit. One day where you do what you said you would do even though you didn't feel like it. That's how identity changes. Identity doesn't change when you say, I am disciplined. It changes when you act disciplined long enough that your brain accepts it as truth. Right now, there are two versions of you competing. One that wants comfort. One that wants growth. One wants to escape discomfort. The other wants to build something meaningful. You feed one every day. The version you feed more will win. And feeding growth doesn't feel good at first. Feels heavy. Feels inconvenient. It feels like you're doing too much while everyone else is relaxing. But that discomfort is temporary. Regret is not. There will be days where nothing seems to improve, where progress is invisible, where you wonder if any of it matters. Those days are the filter. They exist to remove people who aren't serious. Most people quit there, not because they failed, but because they didn't see instant rewards. But life doesn't work on instant rewards. It works on delayed results. Delayed results require patience. Patience requires belief. Belief requires action. You don't need to believe in yourself fully right now. You just need to act long enough for belief to catch up. Structure will save you when motivation fails. A routine removes decision fatigue. It turns discipline into something automatic. When you know exactly what to do and when to do it, emotions lose control. That's why unstructured lives feel chaotic. And structured lives feel calm. Calm doesn't mean easy. Calm means controlled. You don't need to be extreme. Extreme effort burns people out. Consistent effort builds people up. Small wins stack. Momentum builds. And momentum is dangerous. Once momentum starts, quitting becomes harder than continuing. But momentum is fragile at the beginning. Protect it. Don't announce it. Don't seek validation. Don't look for applause. Build quietly. Let results speak later. There's something powerful about knowing you're doing the work even when no one sees it. That knowledge changes how you walk, how you speak, how you look at yourself. Discipline builds self-respect. And self-respect changes everything. You stop needing approval. You stop chasing motivation. You stop waiting for permission. You move because you decided to. You will never feel ready. Ready is a myth. Ready is what people wait for when they're afraid of discomfort. Action creates readiness, not the other way around. Fear doesn't disappear before you act. It disappears because you act. The longer you wait, the louder fear gets. The moment you move, fear starts to shrink. That's not inspiration. That's how the nervous system works. One day, you'll look back and realize the hardest part wasn't the work. It was starting. It was choosing discomfort when comfort was available. It was breaking the habit of delay. And you'll be grateful you did. Because the version of you that stays disciplined doesn't need motivation. He doesn't need hype. He doesn't need reminders. He moves because it's who he is. That version of you isn't special. He's consistent. You don't need more information. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need better circumstances. You need to stop negotiating with yourself. Decide what you expect from yourself. Then meet that standard. Not aggressively, calmly, relentlessly. One disciplined day won't change your life. But disciplined days stacked together will. Boring days build powerful lives. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting to feel confident. Stop waiting to feel motivated. The moment you move, everything changes. Decide who you are, then act like it. And here's the part most people never accept. Discipline doesn't feel heroic. It feels ordinary. It feels like doing the same thing again when you're already tired of it. It feels like showing up on days when nothing exciting happens. It feels like progress so small that no one else would even notice. That's why discipline doesn't get applause. But it gets results. You've probably noticed something about the people who actually change their lives. They stop talking. They stop explaining. They stop posting about their plans. They get quieter, more focused, more selective with their energy. That's not arrogance. That's clarity. When you finally decide to take your life seriously, distractions start to feel disrespectful. You begin to notice how much time leaks away. Not in big chunks, but in tiny moments. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, an hour that disappears without you remembering where it went. And you realize something uncomfortable. No one stole that time from you. You gave it away. That realization hurts. But it also gives you power back. Because if you gave it away, you can take it back. The hardest habit to break isn't laziness. It's inconsistency. Starting strong, then disappearing. Getting momentum, then killing it. That cycle doesn't just slow you down. It trains your brain to expect failure. And once your brain expects failure, it protects you from effort to avoid disappointment. That's why starting feels heavy. Your mind is trying to keep you safe. Safe from embarrassment. Safe from failure. Safe from effort. But safety is not the same as growth. Every meaningful version of you lives on the other side of discomfort. Not extreme discomfort. Consistent discomfort. The kind that doesn't shock your system but slowly reshapes it. You don't need to shock your life into change. You need to train it. Training means repetition. Training means patience. Training means trusting the process even when progress isn't obvious. And progress won't be obvious for a while. You will work and feel like nothing is changing. You will show up and still feel behind. You will stay disciplined and still doubt yourself. That phase is unavoidable. It's the phase where discipline is being installed. Most people quit there because they expect discipline to feel rewarding immediately. It doesn't. Discipline feels restrictive before it feels freeing. But once it clicks, everything changes. You stop arguing with yourself. You stop negotiating. You stop asking whether you feel like doing the work. You just do it. And that simplicity creates calm. Calm is a competitive advantage. While other people are emotionally reacting, overthinking, and burning energy on decisions that don't matter, you're executing. Quietly, consistently, without drama. That's how distance is created. And distance matters. Distance between you and your old habits. Distance between you and your excuses. Distance between you and the version of yourself that kept settling. You don't become disciplined by hating yourself into change. You become disciplined by respecting yourself enough to hold standards. Standards are non-negotiable behaviors. They don't depend on mood. They don't change based on circumstances. They don't disappear when life gets uncomfortable. Standards say, "This is who I am, regardless of how I feel today." That identity is powerful.